thermal sound wave. It is thermal sound waves, a natural alternative to fast food radio. We hear C.Truth, Kev Lawrence. Right about now, joining the program, we have a talented, extremely focused individual who does her thing on a lot of different levels, a lot of different areas. She's an artist. She's an author, she's an advocate, she's a unicorn. There are many different ways I can go on to describe our guest that's joining us right now. But first and foremost, she's Emma Lee M.C. How are you doing?
Ooh, that was a pro toss right there. Thank you so much. Wow. Yes. I'm so happy to be on with you. C.Truth, Indiana, California, Chicago, and worldwide. This is official?
Absolutely. No question about that. I was introduced to you via Master Ace, your record that you have with him, the single Like It's 93, and it was incredible to hear such great music in today's times. Like it really spanned me back a lot of different years and levels and just the artistry of it, like the hip hop of it was just great.
Thank you.
So, and I was like, yo, who is this? Like I had to go in, and that doesn't happen a lot. I'm gonna be honest. That doesn't happen a lot these days. It's like usually it's like, okay, all right. But yeah, I had to find out like who you were exactly, and it was like, okay, she has a lot with her. So let me stop talking and let you say a little bit about yourself. You were born in Uganda and raised in Harlem. Now, how did you make the transition from Uganda to Harlem?
Yeah, that's a pretty wild arc right there. The origin story is definitely crazy. And you know what? It's only getting crazier. I'll say that because I am the only one in my family who was raised here. So I'm the American, even though I was born there. And those of you who are from immigrant families, if you're raised here, you'll always be the American. It doesn't matter. So that happened, and I was a baby when we came, and we literally, like, fresh off the plane, stepped out, and Harlem was the first stop. Harlem, about 1990. So that was, I could tell by that, you already know, like, Harlem 1990 is a very interesting time. It's not as grimy as, 1970s New York, like that was like very, very Wild Wild West, but, and it's not like super crack era, early 80s New York and Harlem, but it's still like we're just coming out of that, and it's, gentrification has not touched yet. So it's still looking, people don't want to come to Harlem. They don't want to walk the streets. They damn sure don't want to stop and take pictures. If they go into the Apollo, they getting in the car, getting out and then getting right back in the car. But for me, it was amazing because, first of all, it's New York City, and people say, like, "Oh, did you have culture shock?" Like, I don't know if it maybe because I was, a baby and still was like soaking so much in. I did have a wild eye when I first got here, but to me, it was like there was so much magic in the air, and the Harlem community and New York Uptown, the hood itself to me had a lot of magic in it. And maybe that's also my personality and my energy of, like they say with children, like they always find magic because they look for it. I think maybe because also I looked for it, I kept finding it. And that period of time, which kind of is a perfect bridge into the Like It's 93 record with Master Ace, that moment in time in hip hop is experiencing like a second wave golden era, or like, well, technically a first wave, because it's like a first wave, because we're coming right out of Rakim. We're coming out of 88. We're coming out of Rakim just changing up the entire way rhyming is done. Run DMC has already come and shook the whole world. NWA just came out. We have a whole colorful slew of women rapping all different types of ways. Salt and Pepper Queen, Light, Latrim, MC Trouble. Like there's so many. So there's what's in the air, and that's blasting out of cars, and writers are scribbling on the walls, and people are dancing in the streets, and In Harlem, especially, people don't just blast hip hop. They blast bachata, merengue, salsa. They blast jazz. They blast gospel. They blast dance hall and reggae. So me, it was like a ghetto Disneyland, like,
For
so
sure.
I was just soaking in that creativity. And I think I've been doing that ever since.
Yeah, definitely. It's Thermal Sound Waves, a natural alternative. We're talking to Emma Lee M.C. here on the program. Yes, indeed. C.Truth, Kev Lawrence. Yeah, I remember those times. I was born and raised in Brooklyn, so.
Oh, you're Brooklyn.
I'm a Brooklyn cat. So I would go back and forth to different areas, and Harlem was always definitely a spot that I would go to for like education, like the book vendors. Like I would always stop by. Like people don't know those times now. Like a lot of education that I got, which wasn't taught in schools, like I got from the literature, from the book vendors that were out there, on the streets, and that was selling the wares, and the entrepreneurs out there with the Nubian heritage and the soaps and all the Carol's Daughter stuff, the stuff that's now corporate that got taken over and bought out.
Yes,
they were selling those in those times, like right there on the corners, on the streets and whatnot, on 25th and Fulton Street in Brooklyn. So I got a lot of education just from that, just soaking all that in and getting the books, which I have almost all of those books to this day.
Oh, that's a blessing.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, it was special times. So yeah, it was a balance. You had your situations with, like you said, the drugs and all that kind of stuff and things that was not so bright, but you also had like a lot of people doing things and uplifting people at the same time within the communities and whatnot, and I gravitated to all of that and like sort out those type of people and whatnot. So in any event, we do a little reminiscing and giving y'all like a kind of bird's eye view. Like I hear a lot of, even in the way that you speak, like you're kind of like writing and you're very visual, and the way you capture things, like I could see it visually, like just the way you speak and whatnot. I can definitely hear. Have you done movies or looking to do movies? Because I can definitely see that.
Wow, thank you for that compliment. That's so encouraging to hear. And I've been an extra in a few movies, and I've been like an unpaid crew hand and help a few producers on their projects. But I can say that my main exposure to film, other than just studying it independently, was connect. I love how we're just connecting these dots. So out of Harlem, for those who may not be aware, the just like you were saying, the arts and activist movement in Harlem has such deep roots. And the Black Arts Movement, as it was called, has a huge history in Harlem. And the Black Panther Party had a Harlem office, and this Harlem office was a headquarters for a lot of the New York chapter Black Panthers, including Afeni Shakur, mother of Tupac Shakur. Now, Godfather of Tupac Shakur and brother to Afeni Shakur happened to be my mentor. His name is Jamal Joseph, and he, in addition to being in the Panthers and being in the Panther 21 trial, he, out of prison, he did about 9 years in prison as a result of his activities with the Panthers and all the ways they were trying to discredit, and tear down that movement. While he was in prison, he got like 2 degrees, and he was screenwriting, and he got into directing plays like in the prison. Mm-hmm. And then when he got out, he, long story short, he found himself in a career to be a director and a screenwriter, and eventually became chair of the film department at Columbia University. And which is crazy because, 20, 30 years before that, he was in the Panthers trying to burn down Columbia University. And they talk about that to this day. Like in his bio, it literally says that as the first line. Like, he once was trying to burn us down, but now, like, it's crazy. But so he starts this youth program, and he pairs leadership training and global awareness and community service with performing arts and rapping and writing and dancing and spoken word. And then he had this film component in there. Now, being a grassroots, inner city program, we don't have all the access and all the budgets and everything to have everybody gets a camera and nah, it's not like that. But at a certain point, there was one camera come and somebody would run one workshop or whatever, or I'd be able to shadow him doing a few things, and then he would go on to do a few things, and a couple of projects would come our way. Like we wrote, what did we write for? We were in the movie for, it was called August Rush. It was a Warner Brothers film that got nominated. The song got nominated for an Oscar and a Grammy. And so a bunch of us got to fly out like to the Academy Awards and perform the song like on live TV. I was one of them, and that was amazing. So we've had like, a glimmer of light of exposure to the film industry, but just the idea of storytelling, which is obviously natural, maybe not obviously, it's a very natural thing for Black and brown people. Like it's just part of our culture, but taking a step forward with the moving image and with telling stories with our bodies, with our rhymes, all these things were embedded like and reinforced in that program. So and then I spun that off into a career, an unexpected career as an editor and an audio engineer. So I ended up being in rooms and projects with filmmakers all the time. So we'll see what happens from here, but I'm definitely like, I have a saying, like, I like to know enough to be dangerous. You know what I'm saying? So if it's not on my resume yet, just don't sleep, though. Exactly. So we'll see.
Exactly. It's Thermal Sound Waves, a natural alternative. We hear C.Truth, Kev Lawrence talking to Emma Lee M.C. here on the program, although she's more than just an MC. As an author, talk about the book that you dropped and what that was about.
Yes, thank you so much. The book is called Y'all Not Gonna Make Me Lose My Mind, Notes from a Hip Hop Unicorn and Suicide Survivor. It is about mental health and emotional wellness and suicide prevention with intersections of hip hop culture all throughout, and basically how hip hop has not only inspired me and many others, but how hip hop is, and it's like inescapable in society. It's in everything. It's utilized by every field, and it happens to be everywhere I go. And I just get so much encouragement and inspiration from people like DMX, who inspired the title, but by so many more people, and not just the songwriters and the rappers, but the producers and the writers and the dancers and the filmmakers, like we were talking about. And the foreword for the book was written by Pharoah Monch, who is a very, 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 very well-respected artist and super creative mastermind in his own right. And he's one of the people who is a direct inspiration to me as an MC and as a total artist. And somebody who's still making music and doing artistic things to this day, and showing us, much like Master Ace and Bahamadia, showing us how you can have a career of longevity without compromise and still be great at what you do, but still be killing it.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And folks, if you haven't heard, we've been playing it, of course. We just got it not too long ago, but we've been burning that down already. The Cravings
so much.
and
Cravings and Withdrawals,
Cravings and Withdrawals with Emma and Bahamadia, who was, she's a legend in her own right. Just the uniqueness of how her voice, the way she rhymes is just incredible. It's like unique. When you hear her, it's like, that's Bahamadia. There's no one like her.
It's her. Yeah.
It's like no one.
Trailblazer for sure.
No one like that. So absolutely. Definitely. Yeah. And Pharoah, as well, like the way he lyrically just, machine guns just going off at the same time, and just and not haphazardly either. It's just it has
so
purpose.
Calculated.
It has purpose. So it's just crazy. So definitely check out that book. I know there are jewels in there for everybody to learn from and to read from. I haven't gotten the opportunity to read it yet, but I'm definitely looking forward to doing that and to getting behind that. You have a thing where you have a game called Hip Hop Unicorn Trivia. Tell us about that.
Yes, that is on the book website, and I wanted to have something on there in addition to free resources for mental health, because mental and emotional wellness is something that we all deal with. Like, we all face it year round, whether or not we deal with it. And so I want more of us to deal with it and make the fears obsolete and feel supported and just know that they're not alone in the things that they go through, even if it's unique to their situation. But being that this subject matter is like sensitive, it's taboo for a lot of people. They don't even want to say the word suicide, or depression and anxiety have gotten like very, I don't want to say comfortable, but it's just like it's so passive. The language has become so comfortable to skate over, that I wanted to make sure that not only was the book like full of humor and imagination and like things to make you like feel good, but that also whenever you like it, at any point you interact with the book, there's something like that. So on the book website, like right next to the mental health resources, is this game, and it basically takes you through questions that are about me and my journey in hip hop, but are so outlandish that they just kind of force your imagination. Like even if you did know the answer, which would be pretty good, because I've led a very unorthodox, non-traditional life, and I've ended up in some very different situations, especially as a hip hop artist. But even if you knew the answers right away, the other, and it's multiple choice, so the other multiple choice will just make you go like, what is it possible that she did that or met that person or did that really? So yeah, it's just something fun. And I just it's important. I think it was Asada Shakur, she said like it's also important, like as revolutionaries, that we paint pictures of beauty too, you know, and of joy. You know, that's revolution too. So that was my intention.
Absolutely. It's Thermal Sound Waves, a natural alternative to C.Truth. Kev Lawrence, we're talking to Emma Lee M.C. here on the program. How did you survive suicide? How did you get through that to be here, present, and doing all the things that you're doing that I know will inspire somebody else who might be in the same situation?
That's a great intention to ask that question. That's such a big question. I have realized in the course of writing the book, and even in the waves after, which just goes to show like you can use a lifetime just getting to know yourself, really. So don't discount any opportunity you have to just like sit quietly or do something where you go inside and you just converse with you and your inner you, or you and your higher self, whoever you consider that to be. But I realized that I basically lived most of my childhood and a lot of the adulthood I was coming into in like a chronic suicidal ideation, which I've also come to find that a lot of people do, very passively sometimes, very acutely other times, but it comes in waves. And just the thoughts of, well, what if I just wasn't here? Or, would people care if I wasn't? Or would people be better off without me? Or, a lot of us have experienced a lot of traumas and adverse experiences that are just buried because we have to keep going. We have to do this. We have responsibilities. We have families. We have jobs. We have bills, and we just got to keep it trucking. We don't have time to unpack this trunk of mess and be emotional. And that's the way we're conditioned to think. But it was in facing a lot of these things head on, especially because I have such a not a fearless personality, because I do feel fear a lot. It just so happens that I've gotten really good at doing things scared, at feeling the fear and doing it anyway, as they say. But I've done this so much, with creativity and being an artist, performing on stage in front of all types of audiences, people in the audience who don't even care about what it is you have to say. They may not even respect you. They may be actively looking to discredit and root for your failure. And you have to figure out in the moment some way to connect with them and to resonate something in them that turns that entire feeling around, or at least gives them a seed of something to walk away with. And doing that at least 50 times a year for 10 years, plus playing tackle football, boxing, getting into wrestling. Like I've just faced that so many times that when it came to, my own mortality and my own pain, it was a lot more familiar for me to really sit in those dark places and explore them, just because I knew if I had all these bright things inside me, all these visions, all these dreams and goals and ambitions, there had to be a reason for me to be here. And I just had to keep finding it, no matter who was telling me or trying to show me otherwise about who I was, who I'm supposed to be, what I'm supposed to be doing. I knew deep in my soul that there was something more. And I think I've done that. And that's why if people say, like, why she do so many things? Like, that's why, because I've been looking for reasons to stay alive. And thank God I keep finding them. And in them, I find ways to also uplift other people and find the magic in other people. And that's a lot of reasons to live.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. And if you can do so many things, then do so many things. It's like you shouldn't have to limit yourself. It's like you said, we're conditioned in society to be workers. So it's like, okay, just do this or just do that. Most of the time for the benefit of someone else and not yourself.
Absolutely.
But if you are multi-talented, then do all the things that you can do or love to do. Like, why not? You know, I mean, there's no reason why you shouldn't. I think that needs to be put out there more to people, especially the youth coming up, as far as like what they can do and all the different avenues that you can travel, which can lead to something else ultimately. Like you never know. You know, you just have to keep on that road to exploration. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to leave it there. We don't have time, but I'm gonna have you come back to talk about some more things, because there's so many different things that we could touch upon. So this is just the appetizer right here. There's gonna be more Emma Lee M.C. here on the program, Thermal Sound Waves, down the road. So y'all make sure y'all be aware and pay attention for that. And of course, you're gonna hear more of her music. You know, what's the name of the album?
Chocolate Bars.
Chocolate Bars. That's right. That's right. Everybody loves chocolate, even if you don't want to admit it. Everybody loves chocolate. So, and chocolate is very, very healthy, very, very good for you.
Tell people. Tell the back row.
It comes from the same plant as cocaine and coffee, but unlike those other two things, it's a lot healthy for you than those other two things. It won't kill you if you do it in moderation like those other two things, but that's a whole
This man has been to Harlem, ladies and gentlemen. This man has been to Harlem and got the knowledge. I love it. Thank you so much.
I do a lot of reading, and I take a lot of time to educate myself, because there's so much out here. That's why this C.Truth. The message is in the name. It's not just the name. But anyway, let people know what your website is, your social medias, and where they can find out more about Emma Lee M.C.
Thank you so much. Yes, if you just type in Emma Lee M.C., a lot of things will come up now, thankfully. Because before, when you type that in, a country singer will come up, just all types of things. So we're making moves now. We on the boards. So Emma Lee, like Bruce Lee, M.C. All my social medias are Amelia is Emma Lee. That's EMILIA. And the website is my government name, Amelia Ochoa. That's what you write on the checks. Thank you so much. AmeliaOchoa.com. Thank you so much.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely. Emma Lee M.C., folks, definitely thank you for taking time out and joining us. Do appreciate it. And looking forward to more down the road. Absolutely. And keep us, connected on what you got coming up. Definitely want to see, the shows and showcases and whatever else you got going on within, the community spaces as well, festivals, all that kind of stuff.
Thank you so much.
Definitely.
Everything.
Yes, indeed. We'll have a most marvelous day and continued success.
Likewise. Peace.
It's Thermal Sound Waves, a natural alternative to fast food radio. We hear C.Truth, Kev Lawrence. Thermal Sound Wave.